Are you a creative? A bit messy, a bit disorganized, but with loads of good ideas. More ideas than you can realize in a lifetime, but you still want to keep track of them. So I'm here to describe my ditzy rebel 3-tier planning system that I hope can help someone else who's like me, creative, but oh so messy. Hello and welcome to this video that I thought I'd never make. But I have found a planner piece, and it all fell into place when I decided to separate my planner from the rest of the system. So these are the 3 levels or tiers of my Ditzy Rebel planning system. At the top you can see 4 A4 notebooks, which I call my messy books. Below them in the picture are 2 A5 notebooks that I call my maybe books. And at the bottom of the image is an A5 planner, the master book. And I'm going to go through how each book works in detail, but as a quick introduction, the A4 books, the messy books, correspond to an A5 book each. So these 2 messy books correspond to this maybe book. And in the same way, these 2 messy books correspond to this maybe book. And they all correspond to this master book. So this is the planner, the workhorse of the system, the book I use every day. It is time specific and current. Nothing goes in here that is not relevant to my life right now. And when it's completely filled, it's history. There's nothing to migrate. Let's begin with the front and back. I keep a few tabs here because tabs are the backbone of my system. I need them all the time. And also post-its. And I've written how many boxes are on each page because this is a dotted book. And this is a good idea. Where the hell is? And this is my mobile phone that I tend to forget where I put. So every time I look for it and find it, I write down where I found it, and then I mark how many times I found it there. And in this case, it was charging. I'll probably add my glasses here as well. And in the front, I've used the first 2 pages to make a pocket. I just glued this edge so I can keep documents for appointments or whatever I'll need in the future. At the back, I have an incompletion trigger list for brain dumps. This is from David Allen's GTD system. So I just printed it out and taped it in. And in the pocket I have a ruler with more tabs on it and a few more post-its. So the tabs that I use for this master book are the current month, the current week, my projects spread for work, my next action spread for work, my project spread for home, and my next action spread for home. And if I have a specific project that needs its own spread for some reason, maybe I'm taking notes for an appointment, for example, that also gets its own tab. At the beginning of the book, I have glued in printed calendar pages where I write down appointments and deadlines far into the future. And these calendar pages are allowed to be messy because I don't use them daily. They're just for reference in the future. So I can cross things out and write outside the boxes, and it's okay because I'm not going to use it for my daily planning. And then for each week I make a cleaner weekly spread and I transfer all the things that are still relevant for that week. And this is what a week looks like when I go into it. I like it empty like this because it gives me a sense of possibilities instead of responsibilities. Of course, that can't last long because I transfer all the appointments and deadlines, but at least, for a minute I can look at it and feel like anything is possible and I can choose to do whatever I want. And it always looks like this. The left page is where I put the days of the week. And this page is a free-for-all. It's for brain dumps, quotes I want to remember, funny things that happen that I then transfer to a diary in a junk journal, or sometimes pictures. It depends on the week. And as you can see, there are no decorations and no borders because they distract me, so I've done away with them. I don't write the name of the month. I don't write the names of the days because I know what month it is and I know what day it is. I only write what I actually need to know. Because I don't like it when it's too crowded. I want there to be a lot of space. And the only things I put in here are the time-specific things, like appointments and deadlines and things I really have to do on a specific day. And to begin with, I wrote weekly tasks here, but that just set off the rebel in me, because when I saw them I felt like, I don't wanna. So instead I have all my next actions on a specific spread that covers a whole month, because that way I can choose what to do, and that's very important for me. This is my work project spread. It's a simple list of all the things I have to do during the semester at work, all my projects. It's there so I don't forget anything. And I also use it in my weekly review to think of next actions for each project. My home project spread is laid out the same way. I write everything that is current in different colors that help my synesthetic brain to separate the different projects, and all these colors correspond to a washi tape tab in the Maybe book. And here are my next actions for this month. And instead of having different pages for different contexts, I use different colors. So everything to do with computers and phones, I put it in blue. The purple is for home, brown is for the office, and so on. My next actions for home, same idea. Blue is for computer, purple for in the home. And I also have recurring tasks like laundry and dishwashing and things like that. I used to use an ordinary tracker, the normal kind you see in the bullet journal community. But I got so depressed seeing all those empty boxes, and I didn't feel like they told me anything. Like, if I wanted to know how many times I had done something in a month, I had to really count the boxes, and it wasn't clear to me. I couldn't just look at it and see a pattern. So I changed it up and made this spread, where I don't use dates, but just a row of boxes that signify how many times I'm aiming to do a certain thing. So not every day. But this didn't work either. I mean, you can see I didn't do anything. There are loads of empty boxes and it just bugs me. So this is what I came up with instead. I don't make sort of prefabricated boxes for the whole month. I make one box, and when I fill it in, when I do a task, I make a new box. So I don't have a whole row of boxes nagging me to take a walk and do the dishes and do the laundry and all these things. There's just one box. So to sum up, the planner, the master book, is for temporary stuff. So when I turn the page in this one, anything that came before is history. But as I said, I'm a creative, so I have a lot of projects that are more long-term. And if I wrote all of those ideas and projects and tasks in this book, I would fill it up in a month, and then I would have to migrate it into the next book, and the next book, and the next book, and that's not something I want to do with my time. So instead, I use these. These are my Maybe books, the Work Maybe book and the Home Maybe book. And I call them Maybe books because they are for someday maybe lists in the GTD system. And I keep them organized in different areas signified by these tabs. And if I have an idea for one of these areas, I can brain dump it on my weekly spread and then transfer it as soon as I come home to one of these. So let's have a look at the work maybe book.
Men det är ju symbolen. Man kan ju inte äta en bulle till frukost. Det är liksom frivolt och nästan omoraliskt.
The tabs in this one signify courses that I teach and my research. And MISC, because you always need a MISC tab. And every spread is the same. On the first page, I write my prioritized projects. That is, the things I have to do, like, for example, the assignments for a specific course. On the next page, I write possible next actions. So these are not the actual next actions that I write in my planner, the master book. They are possible next actions, ideas for things that would be good to do, but if I don't do them, it's fine. I like to have a list of possible next actions because I can go there and see what needs to be done, and I can transfer the things that are most relevant to the planner. So these actions are kind of someday maybe, but quite probable. And then I have another level of probability, which is, you know, someday maybe in the far future, probably. So I need these two levels of someday maybe, because that's how I think. So on this list I put all my various ideas that might come to fruition in the future or not, maybe never. And on this page I put the things that are more probable and closer in the future. And as I said, all the spreads look the same. So next course, prioritize projects, possible next actions, and really someday maybe in the future. And it's the same with this one. And to be honest, I think that this was what broke the camel's back when it came to my previous planning system, because I just couldn't fit all of these projects into my regular planner. It just wasn't possible. It was possible to cram all of the work projects into my planner, but not my home projects. So what is all this? Well, my husband and me live in a cinema, and we use that room to host events like concerts and stuff, and that's this tab. We also write for a local paper, that's this tab. We make radio programs.
Jag som pratar heter Ingela Bom.
Like everyone else, we have paperwork and boring stuff to do with money. This tab is for shopping.
I'm loving all the stuff that is expensive.
This is for birthdays and presents. And here are our social obligations.
People invite me to dinner and I think, oh, but it's Saturday, it's my day.
Things to do with a cabin. Renovation. Decoration. Trips. The car. Cleaning. Food and drink. Health.
I've taken a sick day.
Clothes. Crafting. Writing. Photography. Music. And social media. So these two books are for capturing and keeping the more long-term ideas in all these different areas and projects in list form. But what if I want to write more freely? What if I have really messy thoughts about something that I might one day do, and I want to maybe draw something or make a table or a diagram, or maybe I need more space to write a snippet of a chapter for a book, or maybe draw a storyboard for a video or something, and it would clutter up these books too much because these are based on lists. And it would also clutter up this book, and there would be the problem of this one not being permanent. Well, I need a third tier in the system. That's obvious. Enter the messy books. These are for confused scribbles. There are no rules in these books, except that I put tabs to know where I'm writing about what. There are 4 of them. These 2 are for work. One is for teaching and one is for research, because that's my job. And the other 2 are for home, creative projects, and more sort of duty type projects like renovations and car maintenance and things like that. The teaching messy book. This is where I write ideas for courses, and not, finished, polished ideas in the form of projects or next actions or anything, but just sort of reasoning around, maybe I could do this or that, and oh, that person had a good idea, maybe I can do that for that course, and so on. So it's almost like a diary, because I'm sort of discussing things with myself that I might do. And I use tabs to keep track of where I'm writing about what, so I know that this spread is about life in the home and the family, and this is for food and health. The other work messy book for research, same idea, tabs for different areas, a golden tab for cinnamon buns, don't ask. In this book I'm planning to write, for example, snippets of analyses. Perhaps I'll draw examples of models. I might brainstorm aims for my different studies. Anything really. This one is for home projects of the more responsible kind, the things you have to do, like cleaning or renovations, as I said. Things where other people are involved, or money, where if you don't do these things, it's bad news. Whereas the final book is for play. Just creative projects that nobody cares about but me. Here's something meta. Planning for this very video. I just need to do a quick video about my book because I'm so excited about this astrology idea. My God, I'm so excited now. And I've been thinking about that conductor the whole way, and the violinist, and I have so many ideas. And Magnus surprised me last night by coming up with a new character for my second vampire book. Pretty soon I'm quite sure I'll be revisiting my vampires and packs and everything. You know what? I just decided I'm going to rewrite the ending of Rival Poet. Oh, it's so complicated. I don't know. I mean, I have a few characters, but I don't know who is supposed to do what and who's going to be the villain. And Magnus was just looking at me like I was crazy. And he came up to my office and read what I had on the screen and saw new names. And he said, "Have you started a new book since yesterday?" Yeah. I've written 3 chapters now. Say that I have an idea on the go, and I have this book with me, always, so I can brain dump in this one and then transfer whatever it is to wherever it goes. And I actually did have an idea today. It was for the Shakespeare book. The first one, Rebel Hand, is all about wanting to speak, but being hindered. So I've been having trouble with these sequels to my book about Shakespeare Marlowe, Rival Poet. I have 200,000 words written. That is 3 books. But I haven't found sort of the binding thread or the way to cobble them all together to actually publish them. And they have been lying around for 8 years now. And now I'm finally finding a way to finish them. And today I thought of this, that, what is because I was thinking about characters and what they want, motivation. And I realized, what does Will want in the first book? He wants to speak. Loads of very different stuff happens, but it all has to do with his, inability to express himself and communicate so that people understand, and, finding his voice. So that's the idea. Where does it go? It goes in here. And now I change color into the writing color. Now it's in the possible next action list, because this is not something I need to do now. So it doesn't go into the planner, because that's only for things I actually have to do now or during the next month. But this is for the future, but the near future. So I'm not putting it on this list, because this is such a good idea that I actually do want to do it, just not now. So maybe in a few weeks, when I feel I have the time to write, I can go to this book and check what my good ideas are. And if I suddenly decide that, I'm going to publish this on the 23rd of April, so I better get a move on, then I will transfer this to the task list in the planner. And maybe then I'll even attach a date to it, so that there's a deadline for going through Rebel Hand and emphasizing all these situations where he wants to speak but can't. So then it goes into the calendar. So now that I've transferred this brain dump item into the Someday Maybe book, I can mark this as finished. I haven't done the task, but I've put it where it's supposed to be. So brain dump wise, I have processed it. But say that I get more ideas and more intricate ideas that pertain to this task, this, basic idea. There's too little detail. I want to really brainstorm about this now, because ideas are crowding into my brain about how I can show this, and I have snippets of scenes I'd like to jot down, and maybe ideas for chapters where I can develop this theme. And I don't want to clutter up this list, because this is supposed to be just, an action list. And I don't want to clutter up the brain dump either, because I only have one page for this week. So I bring out the big one. And I haven't started this book, and I'm not going to now. I'm not that brave to do it on camera. So I'm just going to put a post-it and pretend. The first page is going to be about writing, which means I must make a tab that signifies writing. There we go. And why does this signal writing? Well, because I say so. And it's the same washi tape that I use in here for writing. So how can I expand on the idea? Well, in chapter 1, I can show him being interrupted by Gilbert, his brother, his parents, Dick, Master Hunt, everyone really. I can establish a tendency for him to get interrupted by other people. Chapter 2, that's with Aunt Joan, isn't it? So she encourages him to speak, but since he's so silenced by others, he has trouble. So there are people in his life, maybe his sister as well, Annie, encourages him to tell stories and so on. So that sort of juxtaposes nicely with the first chapter where he's not allowed to speak. So actually these are good ideas that I'm actually going to use, and I'm probably going to write them into the actual book. So, to summarize the 3-tier system, I have my messy books for teaching, research, home projects and creativity, where I can be as messy as I like. Anything goes, really. Then I have the maybe books in the form of lists in different areas of my life. Things that I might one day do. Possible next actions. And finally, the master book, the planner, where You know, nothing enters if it's not relevant, current, and date specific. There you go. The recipe for a creative but organized life.